All right. Thank you, Jose. And when my wife asks, where are you? I can say, I'm at home. I'm at home in Bangalore. So Sanjeev was just introducing what Karnataka is doing, and I'm really pleased to be back again, because this is a place which it feels like home already. A home where ingenuity meets needs. And that's what we are about here. And I would like you to take you along on a little journey on you, I, we are. We are here to recreate the world we are living in. So U stands for understand the underlying signals and practice hard empathy. So when we talk about mobility, practicing hard empathy, it's pretty easy to do in Bangalore. I stands for imagine the unimaginable. So step out of the box and think differently. Be crazy at the beginning. We wonder how we can solve the problem together, because there is no silo approach. And R, recreate the world we're living in, but really do it. Get things done. And that's what I really love about the ICT Future Forum. We had so many actions done on the ground. So I would like to invite you, after all the talks and all the discussions, get together and get things done. Now, every day somewhere in the world, this is happening, and that's why we're here. I'm from Silicon Valley, California, and you know what happened in Los Angeles. And when I talk to the people in Los Angeles, they say it's like 9/11. That's what they experience at the moment, after these wildfires. I just saw that 10 hours ago, 16 people drowned in Argentina. We're talking about droughts. Maybe Hamburg, you know Hamburg? Okay, Hamburg is not known as a very deserted city, but the rainfall this month, so from Jan to Feb, was 95% below average. 95%. And when we talk about cyclones, Australia is just hit by a cyclone. So this is happening everywhere in the world all the time. And why is this happening? This is exactly because of that. The GHG curve, the GHG emissions to the atmosphere, and we are riding on an exponential curve, and exponential thinking, Anuja, is hard to understand. For us humans, it's sort of step by step we can get that, but exponential growth, it's very hard to get grab on it. And Marcus, you were saying something about the climate goals we are having with this 1.5. Actually, France just released yesterday, they're getting ready for 4 degrees plus. Because we can't really get to grips what has to be done, even though the technologies and the approaches are there. So we need to draw this curve down. So how? Well, imagine the unimaginable. Be crazy at the beginning. Turn the world upside down and think it crazy. Let's do that. Now let's check where it is coming from. Electricity production, the percentage which is attributed to the climate change is by 25%. And talking about ingenuity, thanks, Jose, that you invited me here to one of the conferences. I got to know a system. So imagine the unimaginable. What if the energy is produced where you need it? Exactly there. What if the energy loss, and you know, when you produce centralized energy, 30% of the energy you produce gets lost. This is crazy. So how can you do it without this 30% loss? How can you do it with hardly any CO2 emission? And what if we could, and Shan very much, thank you very much for this one, from Namayatri, how can you include the community into this? Well, it's happening. This is the island of Tres. It's in Croatia, a beautiful island in the Mediterranean. And you've got two ways to go. Either you go to Italy or you go to Croatia. I advise you to go to Croatia. It's a beautiful country. And you've got a beautiful coastline there. And you've got islands there. And one of these islands is Tres. And on this island of Tres, people had this public transport system. This public transport system was a bus running 3 times a day across the island with some stops, but that's it. And of course, the people got annoyed about it. And they said, I don't get any transport, what I needed. So the mayors came together and said, what if we do it differently? What if we provide electric minibuses for mini services within the cities, within the island? But do we want to run them on combustion engine? No. So what if we provide our own energy on solar panels for these minibuses? Yeah, why not? And by the way, we are taking the solar panels and putting them above the trenches where the fresh water is running in. So the evaporation is stopped. Yeah, why not? And how do we get all these pieces together? Well, there's an answer. The Unified Energy Interface. Developed by the ingenuity coming from your guys. Anivan, thank you very much for this one. This is what's happening in Croatia. Let's talk about sand. Yeah, sand could be a battery. And whenever you have been on a beach on a sunny day and you step in it, you know what is happening there. It's very hot. It keeps the heat a long time. So this is happening in Finland. It's the first sand heat battery which is deployed. So it's not high tech, it's low tech. Just take sand, make it a heat converter into it, and that's it. So Joe's asked me to be short and precise. 2 things for energy, electricity. Now move on. Agriculture. Agriculture and land use is 24% of the GHG emissions. So imagine the unimaginable. What if we could give nature a say? What if we would follow the nature's needs and rejuvenate, regenerate, and harvest at the same time? What if we could use the digital power to enhance that process? By giving an aadhaar for nature. Just think of it. Just think of a river. A river having a digital identity, and suddenly this river can go to court and say, hey, something is going upstream here. I don't want to have that happen. Someone is releasing something into my river, into me, which is not nice. Someone is taking out water where they shouldn't do it. It's possible. It's possible by giving nature an identity. And actually, it's already happening in New Zealand. In New Zealand, one of the rivers has a natural person, and this natural person can go to court. So what if we can make nature talk to us via an aadhaar? And actually, the first steps are happening here in Bangalore, and actually started here as well on this ICT Future Forum, together with Hasten Regeneration, and together with the backend protocol team. So what is happening there? They're helping farmers to understand what's happening in their soil. They're giving an aadhaar for this plot of land. They're taking all the measurements with smart sensors out of it, supply that to bigger services, and then to enhance the learning to rejuvenate their fields and their land. And by using the backend protocol, which is helping to discover, order, fulfill, post-fulfill, to get to the market as well. And at the end, actually, you can trade carbon credits at the same time, giving the credentials to the people who are really needed. Talking about industry. Industry is contributing 21%. Imagine the unimaginable. What if there is an industrial production happening and the CO2 emissions do not enter the atmosphere? Wouldn't that be nice? Someone was talking about Delhi. Yeah, I totally understand. How could we do that? What if we're able to capture the waste heat? And what if we are even able to capture and store methane and hydrogen with exactly the same technology? If you think this is a dream, nope, it's reality. There's a company called Atoko. So what is this company doing, Atoko? This company was founded by a Palestinian, Professor Yagi. he was running out of water in the refugee camp. So he thought there must be a way to do it differently. He made his way up to Berkeley. He's a professor at Berkeley, and started to do, and I had to train that word, reticular chemistry. So what is reticular chemistry doing? They're changing the structure of metals. And the beauty of this one is they change the structure of metals. So with the 1 gram of this changed metal, they achieve a surface of 1 soccer field. Now, I'm not a chemist, but I can imagine on a 1 soccer field of surface, you can capture a lot of things on top of it. And exactly that's what they do. So what you see here is the first plant of capturing CO2 directly out of the production line and convert it and store it. And you don't need, as other companies need, a lot of energy. They just need the waste heat of the production. So there's no extra energy needed, which is beautiful. Some other big companies, and they've got a lot of money at the moment, they're using a lot of energy just to capture a bit through vacuum cleaners out of the air. Talking about transportation, that's one of my heart stories, of course. I was working with BMW for over 35 years, so transportation and mobility, as we distinguish today, which is, thank you very much for this one, is a very hard thing. So imagine, what if we could fly over it? And we had E-plane here, and I might add now another little spice to it. What if the costs are relatively low? What if we increase the delight of transportation, because that's the core issue why we don't use public transport? And what if we reduce the CO2 emissions at the same time? And what if we can use Indian-born ingenuity to do that? Well, we combine it. So what you see here is cable cars. Cable cars are a very easy implemented way of having public transport. Not supplying, not doing an asset for the metros, no, but connecting to the assets. And I was just at Electronic City, sitting in one of these compounds and trying to get out at 5 o'clock. You all know what's happening there. So all the buses are stuck there and everybody tries to get out. There's no way. So just imagine you just go into a cable car and fly over the traffic, come to the metro, get out there. And then at the end of the station, of the metro station, again, this cable car comes there, you jump into it, you fly over the traffic, and you come to your real estate development, your living area. And what if, at exactly that point, as Leitner does, it's an Austrian company, the cable car cabin gets out of it, put on a skateboard, and this skateboard drives you autonomously home to your living area. Well, when you talk about autonomous driving in India under Indian roads conditions, it's happening. It's happening. So this startup, Swayod Robots, is in Bhopal, and they're going to be there again on Thursday. They reached level 5 autonomous driving in India on Indian roads and under Indian road conditions. Tuk-tuks, bikes, dogs, cows, not taking any traffic rules, it's happening. So what if we combine the cable cars with this autonomous technology? What if? It's there. Building on site, 6%. So what if our buildings would last longer? What if the energy balance on site would be fantastic? What if we would feel more at home, more comfortable at home? What if it is even easier to be built with reduced CO2 emission and even capturing CO2? Well, one way to capture CO2 is Climeworks, as I told you about it, is having these big vacuum cleaners and trying to capture CO2. What if we use this very traditional thing called tree and timber, and using timber, the stored CO2 in there, and then you say, you can't use that for skyscrapers? Yes, you can. So that's the first skyscraper which is already there, 18 floors in Finland, Moyes Star Net, that I hope I pronounced it right. It's 18 floors, 84 meters high, and the next one will come up in Wisconsin with 45 floors built in this year. So what if we could use timber for exactly that and store the carbon and having a better living there? So this is what's happening. We have to draw the curve down. And so wonder how you and we together can solve the problem. This is what we're doing here together. We as EDG help you along this journey. And please recreate the world with impact now. Thank you very much.